Only got 5 minutes left with Dr. Begich. I've hogged him for myself, but we're going to your calls with quick questions. Who's up next here, John? Mark in Minnesota. Quick question or comment for Dr. Begich.
Yes, doctor. I was wondering your take on, I don't know, I didn't catch the whole show here, so I don't know if you've covered this, but I was wondering about the Gulf oil spill and if some of the toxins could be coming out of the Gulf and coming onshore and developing some kind of a clouds of gas or toxins and killing the birds and animals down there.
That's a good question, Doc.
Great question. I don't have any specific information on that, and I've not seen anything on that. But we did see a huge release of toxic material there, similar to what we had at the Valdez Exxon spill. But we didn't see those kinds of effects associated with our spill here. So it's hard to say. I think the judge is out on that, but it's certainly a good issue to raise because it did bring in a lot of toxins that weren't in the environment before.
Well, we know when they say all the seafood's safe, the tests have showed it's not, and they've been lying about that. Mark, great question. Bill in Florida, you're on the air with Dr. Nick Begich.
Hi, Alex. I got a question. How do I protect myself against a cell phone tower that is 200 yards away?
There's not a lot you can actually do. I mean, short of creating a Faraday cage and shunting the energy away from you, and that's not a practical solution. I can tell you up to 1,500 meters, cell towers have a biological effect. That was documented years ago. I lectured with one of the scientists in Switzerland some years ago on this same subject, and that's the range is 1,500 meters, which is quite a bit further out than you are. The greater effect is with young children or developing children. They tend to be more affected by this. If you remember the old EPA studies of power lines, when they involved children, they showed all kinds of negative effects. So they redid the studies with just adults and showed no effects. That's important. The only real solution is reconsideration of your location if you feel it's affecting your health in a deleterious way.
And we see this across the spectrum with fluoride, many times worse for children. It's radiation, many times worse. I guess it's something to do with the fast, growing, fast dividing cells. Right. We know that radiation in adults targets the gums, the intestines, fast growing cells. With a child, the whole thing's fast growing.
That's exactly it. And then for other technologies like cell phones where you're placing them against your head, the skull's thickness is half at age 5 of an adult, and so, or less than half. So you have a lot more energy transiting into the brain. And so there's lots of physical characteristics with children that affect them much differently than adults, particularly when you're considering these new sources of concern.
Good question, Bill. Donna in Louisiana, you're on the air worldwide.
Yes, hello, Alex?
Yes.
Okay, nice to talk to you. Thank you for all you do, and thank you, Dr. Begich, as well. I was wondering about empathy genes, pertinent to what you were talking about earlier. They did some studies several years ago, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago, I remember, wondering why at the time they were interested in such a thing. But this may play into some of your discussion about mind control and fear and the empathy that we have that they're trying to suppress or something.
We know the Pentagon has been working on turning off empathy to have kind of biological android. I mean, who needs a Terminator machine when you've got a human that's had their thinking process turned off? Dr. Begich?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, there's a lot of work being done now because of post-traumatic stress syndrome of wiping out memory. Now, I would be very concerned about this because of several reasons. One is you wipe the memory clean on the surface, you may not wipe it out. In other words, you continue to play with it in your subconscious, which could lead to huge and new forms of psychosis. The other thing is what if all those troops were involved in some illegal, immoral, unethical, evil activity that normal human beings wouldn't participate in, which is why they're experiencing post-traumatic stress syndrome, and that what you're trying to do is wipe out their memory so you can deny that whatever they saw or participated in never happened. That's my concern.
Well, that's like studies show that people don't get very depressed when they see killing as something that was in defense or righteous, but your brain actually attacks you if it thinks you've done bad. Even if you've rationalized consciously, your subconscious wants to kill you.
Yeah, and it's I think we're playing in an area that is very, very dangerous. Trying to wipe out a memory rather than deal with what it is that has changed a person we do the same thing in this country every day with chemicals issued by doctors instead of people sitting down with counselors getting to the root of their problems. Now we want to just wipe out the memory so we can excuse bad behavior. I don't think it's a good idea.
Doc, I won't keep you any longer after the break. We'll just do 2 minutes and plug Earth Pulse and your work and how folks can support it, and we'll let you go. Then I'll get into all the big news, folks, and more of your calls. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Infowars.com and their side, of course, we'll give you on the other side of this break.